Hi everyone, my name is Romintor. You can also call me Jeff. So for this video, we are going to talk about Rogue Gears, Skill 3, Paragon board, the strategy and mechanics on killing Uber Lilith in 1 minute. But yeah, as you can see during the start of this video, for those who haven't experienced killing Uber Lilith yet, just a heads up, it looks really simple and easy, but in reality, there is more going on, and there are a lot of variables that you need to consider when doing this type of kill on Uber Lilith. But yeah, no worries. We will be discussing all throughout this video, all of those things. We're gonna be discussing those things. Also, before we start, kudos to Lucky Luciano and Jericho TV. They're really helpful. They're awesome individuals. Um, and also majority part the part of this build, majority of them came from their guides, especially from Lucky Luciano. So yeah, Paragon board. I couldn't think of a better Paragon board other than Lucky Luciano's Paragon board. I've compared everything, but yeah, his Paragon board is awesome. That's the biggest damage dealing Paragon board that I have seen, and yeah, it's really nice to use. Only for Uber Lilith though. But so yeah, let's go ahead and start. Oh, by the way, I've included their links on the description, so please check out on them. They're really awesome individuals. So yeah, let's go ahead and start. For our gears, let's start first with our helm. I used Mangler's aspect for this helm. So Mangler's aspect basically dazes a vulnerable enemy, and any crowd control effects that we do on Uber Lilith creates a stagger buildup on her. How do we make Uber Lilith vulnerable? So that comes from our puncture. All right. But later on, we will be digging deeper on that area as well. So when we are already on the mechanics and strategy part of this video, we're gonna be discussing those things. But yeah, for the stats on our helm, cooldown reduction is a must. Poison imbuement is a must. If you have 3 ranks of poison imbuement, I think that will do, but 4 would be awesome. And then either intelligence or dexterity. I couldn't find a. I've tried getting a dexterity stat, but I couldn't roll dexterity for the other helms that I have. So I stuck with this one, intelligence, since it's already a high roll. And I lack critical strike chance, I think, for my rings. Yeah, I don't have critical strike chance from one of my rings. So yeah, that's the reason why I chose intelligence, because intelligence gives us critical strike chance. All right, but I have a very low critical strike chance bonus. But yep, it's totally fine though. Next is basic skill attack speed. This could be better, but yeah, I have 12.6. Yeah, those things are a must for your helm, especially the cooldown reduction and ranks of poison imbuement. If you have those two already, you can use those helms. But yep, Mangler's aspect and then the stats. All right. For the chest piece, I use Exploiter's aspect, just like in Lucky Luciano's guide. Basically, what this aspect does is making us deal more damage while Lilith is not staggered, or while she's not yet in vulnerable phase. Plus, it prolongs our crowd control duration. And then stats for this chest piece: damage, poison damage. It could be imbuement skill damage if you're gonna be taking a look at Lucky's guide. but I couldn't roll imbuement skill damage. I'm already at I think 4 million. I think 4 million each enchantment, and I couldn't afford. I really couldn't afford more. I've already wasted I think around 20 million. Not really sure though, but yeah. Um, Poison damage it's totally fine because DOT damage is better than um DOT damage is better than having nothing at all. All right, but yeah, either imbuement skill damage or poison damage, any damage dealing stat, as long as it is related to our build, Twisting Blades build, that would be fine. And then strength. This is supposed to be dexterity, but I couldn't find any armor, even in high roll armors that I have. I couldn't find dexterity. I didn't roll strength anymore because this one's better than the other one from the one that I enchanted. I really forgot it, but it's really not useful. But yeah, strength. I chose strength because basically this gives us resource regeneration and also increases our armor. All right. Since I think I lack resource regen on my rings. Yep. So this ring doesn't have what they call this resource regen. So that's why I had to get strength on my chest piece. I stuck with strength. No, I didn't get it, but I stuck with this one. The next is cutthroat skill damage. This is really important as well. Any damage that get those. If you wanna stick on defensive stats, um, you can do as well. But for me, I prefer doing defensive stats on my helm. On my chest piece. And the next gloves. For the gloves, I used Inner Calm. Actually, two gloves. First gloves that First gloves that I used is Face of Fate for the initial fight with Lilith. So phase one and phase two, I used Fist of Fate. All right. So for phase one, I use Fist of Fate primarily because of the stats that it brings. So it's for utility and crowd control effects for stagger buildup. So utility would be healing, resource, regeneration, not regeneration, but restoring resource, which is our energy, and then immobilize and daze effects on Lilith, which is for stagger buildup. All right, and then of course affix. This affix of my Face of Fate is a low roll. I couldn't get Face of Fate after trying to run multiple times different dungeons, which has primary drops of gloves and other gears, but yeah, still unlucky though. But yeah, all I needed was those stagger buildup. So that's why I still use Face of Fate. Okay. And then the other glove that I used is this one, Inner Calm. So right before Lilith gets staggered, like at 80% or 70%, I think, I depending on the toxic pool, status of my toxic pool, I switch to Inner Calm gloves. All right. So Inner Calm gloves, switch this one. So basically, what the Inner Calm gloves does is what this aspect does is we deal more damage when we are standing still. So the longer that we stand still, the more damage that we do. But this is just for 30% maximum increased damage. All right. So 3 seconds, 10% each. High roll for this one. So 10% each second, that would be 3 seconds. You get maximum increased damage, which is 30% from this aspect. All right. So just an example. For example, I'm attacking Lilith now and she gets staggered. My attack power is at 8,164. No elixirs. What else? No, I'm even not holding my weapon because if you're holding your weapon, your damage here will change as well. All right, but yeah, nevertheless, I'll show you. 1001, 1002, 1003. There we go. 10,613. Okay. All right. That's how it works. And then next is I used two different pants for this build because I couldn't I couldn't survive some of the attacks of Lilith even though I'm using potion already, especially the mini waves that she does from her wings. So I had to use defensive pants in order to survive that one. So for the pants, I use Aspect of Might. This is for the first pants alone. For phase 1, I use Aspect of Might. So defensive stats, damage reduction stats, total armor, and maximum life. Maximum life is important and damage reduction. So yeah, please use this one. And then Aspect of Might versus Aspect of Disobedience. Aspect of Might gives us more survivability rather than Aspect of Disobedience, but some people use Aspect of Disobedience. I'm not against that. It's totally fine. It's great. But this one gives us more damage reduction. Alright? So yeah, this is for phase 1. And then when Lilith dies on phase 1, you are gonna be immediately equipping, I mean, yeah, equipping what you need to equip. So you're gonna be equipping this one as well. One of them would be this pants. So still Aspect of Might, just in case she does that tail thing at first, you know. So Aspect of Might, and then offensive stat. I still had to get maximum life just to be safe, and it's a low roll, but yeah, having maximum life at all would be good. But yep, maximum life, dexterity. This is supposed to be a different one. I couldn't find a better. I couldn't roll anymore and couldn't find a better um damage or utility stat. But this one is really good because I have dodged Lilith multiple times. I'm dodging her multiple times already, so it also helps dealing more damage on Uber Lilith. And then intelligence for critical strike chance. Alright. And then for the gems that I used for the defensive gears, not defensive stats, right? I call them defensive gears. So to make it short, for our helm, chest piece, and pants, that would be the ruby gem. Alright, ruby gem. Next is um our boots. So during the initial fight on phase 1, I use Penitent Reeves. Penitent Reeves for stagger buildup. Alright. So chilling enemies makes or gives us more stagger points on Lilith. So yeah, Penitent Greaves. And then right also the same thing with the gloves. Right before she gets staggered, switch to this boots right away. So aspect for this boots is Noxious Eyes. So before we use this one, we are using Penitent Greaves. It chills Lilith. So that means it complements well on Noxious Eyes. So chilled enemies poisoned by poison imbuement will be further chilled for 20% per second. And we deal additional 28% additional 20 we deal 28% additional poison damage to frozen enemies. But yeah, prolonging the chill effect would be great on the list because we can stagger her quickly when we change our boots to Noxious Eyes. All right. Next is our amulet. All right. Amulet. I used accelerating aspect on my amulet. Ranks of the exploit and ranks of all imbuement skills. I would rather have ranks of all imbuement skills if I couldn't get ranks of the exploit. Imbuement skill ranks is really better because later on, when I show you the skill tree, you'll be able to see the level of my poison imbuement. All right. So remember 5 points plus 4 poison ranks and then 3 on all imbuement skills. So that's a total of 12. All right. But later on, you'll be seeing that on the skill tree as well. On how big the damage is. All right. So ranks of all imbuement skills. You can get damage or dexterity or other good stats related to our twisting blade, but I couldn't get damage, so I stuck with this one. Stuck with this one. Damage from that dodging. I have where's that one? Yep, I have this noxious ice. So later, I have the Noxious Ice Boots, a dodge chance stat on this. So it complements well on where's that one? Yeah, it complements well on this and this one. All right, the damage from dodging stats. Later on in this video, you'll see how it takes effect. All right. So when I equip this one, it already procs the dodge attack. I mean damage from dodging. But yep. Again, aspect for this is accelerating aspect, and then wrathful heart would be creeping death. So creeping death, our DOT effects are increased by a maximum of 50%. That's the highest roll that you can get from this wrathful heart. And then since Lilith is unstoppable and gets staggered, we do 132% increased damage. Highest roll is 150%. We do those damage, increased damage from our DOT effects. All right. It is really good. It really complements this build. Next is our ring. So bursting venoms aspect, this is really important. Toxic pools. So whenever we are standing on the toxic pool, our poison imbuement skill will be having no cooldown or no charge limit, and it deals damage as well. All right. So this is really important. Get this one because this is what kills Uber Lilith. All right. If we don't have a toxic pool, we couldn't really kill her quickly at all. I mean, it's possible, but if you want to skip some of the phases or mechanics, I mean, it's really important for you to proc this one. All right. And then stats for the rings, ideally lucky hit, vulnerable damage, resource regen, and critical strike chance. But I couldn't get critical strike chance for this ring. But I was able to get lucky hit. Lucky hit is more important than, in my own opinion, lucky hit is really important than critical strike chance because lucky hit helps us proc that toxic pool. And toxic pool quickly, whenever we have toxic pools, it quickly kills Uber Lilith due to the DOT effects. All right, it's really good. But yeah, I do have damage and poisoned enemies, so it complements well in the toxic pool as well. All right. Next is pestilent points on the other ring. Oh, by the way, vicious heart would be cluster minions, but I really do not have a good ring that has a lucky hit chance. I couldn't find a good ring that has a lucky hit chance and has a devious heart slot. But this one also helps. The vicious heart cluster minions helps us get stagger points as well, but I would rather get, if for example I have a ring that has a pink malignant heart slot, which is a devious heart slot, I would rather get that one with the same stat or better stats, which is lucky hit, resource regen, vulnerable damage, and critical strike chance. But I couldn't find a ring that is similar to this one, which I have already, or a better stat. I couldn't find a ring that has a devious gem slot or devious malignant heart slot. But yeah, this caged heart clip shot builds stagger. I mean, helps us build that stagger on Lilith really quickly because this one has a high chance of lucky hit. So basically, our cutthroat skills will be slowing Lilith by 40% for 8 seconds. So this is really good. Our cutthroat skills are first Shadow Step and Twisting Blades. Knowing that Twisting Blades is our one of our main attacks, attack dealing damage on Lilith. So this is really helpful. But take note, if you cannot, if you aren't able to kill or cannot kill Lilith in just one stagger phase and she spawns those ads, be careful using this one because they'll get knocked back. So you might as well switch your ring right away if you couldn't kill her in one stagger phase. Alright? But yeah, it is really fine. It is better. But if you don't have a high roll on this one, you can use cluster minions instead. Oh yeah. And then for the other ring, Pestilent Points again. Uh, Basically, this helps us do more DOT damage and it helps us proc the toxic pools because our puncture will be dealing more DOT damage via this one, via Pestilent Points aspect, and our puncture has the highest, what do you call this, highest lucky hit chance. So lucky hit, if I switch this one, for example, I switch my Inner Calm Gloves, our attack power will be increasing, alright? Considering I'm not holding my weapon, our attack power will be increasing. Sorry, our attack power will be increasing when I'm not moving. Plus, my lucky hit chance will also be increasing since I do have 11.7 lucky hit chance here. Decent roll, low roll still, but decent enough. Helps enough. Our lucky hit on our puncture will be increasing. A while ago it's 46 or 45%, now it's 49%. Alright. And then for the stat, without the potion, I think this is 36, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 40%. Yep. Alright. When I'm not wearing it, it's 29 only. Yep. Alright. So whenever you have your toxic pool up and Lilith immediately gets, I mean, is about to get staggered. If Lilith is about to get staggered, you switch to this one, and then boom, you'll be able to attack quickly. Plus, you'll get a higher chance from attacking. I mean, from having a boost in attack speed plus a boost in lucky hit chance, you'll be having mm, potentially having more toxic pool procs on Uber Lilith before she gets staggered. Oh yeah, this one's better. Alright. This is only for stagger build up to be honest, but I would rather use this Fist of Fate if I have a high roll, at least 250 or 280%. I would use the Fist of Fate and not switch on this one. Alright, but yeah, I couldn't find it. But still, this one is a gamble when you're using Fist of Fate. Although there's a challenge in switching if you're not used on switching your gears during a fight. All right. But yeah, it takes practice and it happens to the best of us, getting killed by Uber Lilith. Like, but yeah, nevertheless, try it and keep on practicing. Well, yeah. So lucky hit chance on this one. Poison imbued with 135 for this aspect, but 150% is the highest one that we can get. And then stats, same stats. Ideal stats would be resource region, vulnerable damage, lucky hit chance, and critical strike chance. I couldn't get couldn't get resource region for this ring. But earlier I was able to get resource region from the other ring. This one I was able to get critical strike chance. This one no critical strike chance, but for this one it does have critical strike chance but no resource region. So they're like a married couple, they complement each other's weaknesses. So yep. Next, our weapons. So weapons, crossbow. Do not use a bow, please use a crossbow. Vulnerable damage is not OP, but vulnerable damage is really good in Diablo 4. You all know that one. Stick on vulnerable damage if you have vulnerable damage. If you can make the enemies vulnerable. Alright? So vulnerable damage. Please, please, please use a crossbow. So aspect of corruption. You can place your accelerating aspect on your crossbow, but I'm pretty confident enough on my attack speed, so I used aspect of corruption on my crossbow to deal more um DOT damage or imbuement skill effects. Alright, against Uber Lilith. So yeah, I use this one. Alright. Accelerating aspect. And then stats for our crossbow. Um so for the crossbow, it's bugged. Wait, there you go. So stats for our crossbow, it's vulnerable damage, dexterity, damage to close enemies, and core kill damage. So core skill damage and all other stats that you are seeing right now, those are the ideal stats. But most important stats that you should be getting: vulnerable damage, core skill damage, and dexterity. Of course, you shouldn't be getting damage to distant enemies. Don't get it. Other damage dealing stat would be great. Um, let's say poison damage or imbued skill damage, those kinds of stats. Those are decent enough. But if you can roll damage to close enemies, that's really helpful because you're always sticking on to Uber Lilith since you're a melee. All right. Next is Shara's Conjure. Shara's Conjure. Basically, this helps us with our attack speed and boosts our basic skill damage and more damage on Uber Lilith when she's crowd controlled. So we're constantly doing crowd control effects on her. That means more damage bonus. And then it also boosts our lucky hit chance. Alright? So if you have, for example, low rolls on the stats, that's totally fine. If you have low rolls on the stats, that's okay. But if you have high affix and low rolls on stats, that's okay as well. I'd rather stick with high affix. Like in this case, I only have 11.7 lucky hit chance. Even if I have 8.1 lucky hit chance on this one, and then everything low roll, everything's gonna be a low roll on the stats on this unique dagger. But I do have a max attack speed bonus. I'd rather stick on the affix rather than the stats because higher attack speed, quicker attack speed gives us more chances of proccing those toxic pools. All right. So lots of people are trying to ask why they're not being able to proc those toxic pools. It's a little bit of luck in RNG, but you can somehow control that one by equipping better gears. For example, this one. All right. All right. Next is blade dancer's aspect on your weapon. You can use a dagger or a sword, but I love using swords. But yeah, swords. I mean, dagger has a quicker attack speed, but I can feel my attacks better when I'm using a sword. Attack speed on daggers are really fast for me, and I couldn't time it perfectly on Uber Lilith, so that's why I chose sword instead. But yeah, same stats with our crossbow. Damage to close enemies, vulnerable damage, dexterity, core skill damage. And then this is a must blade dancer's aspect. Alright. And then the gems for our weapons would be this one. What they call this gem? Purple gem. I think that's amethyst. That's amethyst, right? Yep, amethyst. So amethyst would be our gem on our weapons. Alright. So yeah. I'll be also linking the build for this on the description. So check it out. So we're done with the gears. Oh, by the way, for the pestilent points ring, I use Dark Dance. Yeah, Dark Dance, Vicious Heart. All right. You can use Tempting Fate, but Tempting Fate is a little bit of risk, cause not risk per se, but there's inconsistency on the damage effects on what do you call this on Tempting Fate, because Tempting Fate lessens our non-critical strike damage, but I'd rather have a consistent damage on Uber Lilith rather than using Tempting Fate. Because as you can see, Tempting Fate, we gain critical strike damage 73%, but our non-critical strikes deal 35%. And critical strike damage is not really that important when it comes to DOT. I mean, the consistency of our damage is a must when dealing DOT damage. So I'd rather have this one. All right. But the thing is, you're gonna be asking me, um, why would I sacrifice my HP? No, we're not sacrificing our HP. It's not a risk. So yeah, let's hop on to the skill tree. And later on this skill tree, you will be getting to know why we use Dark Dance instead. All right. So skill tree, let's start off with puncture. Puncture, I've already mentioned this a while ago. Vulnerable buildup plus DOT buildup and toxic pool buildup as well. All right. Puncture. Next, enhance puncture to energy when puncture damages a crowd control enemy. So we always gain 2 energy. Alright, since we are doing crowd control effects constantly on over Lilith. Next, fundamental puncture, we make Lilith vulnerable. Alright, next, our main attack as well, twisting blades. Alright, enhance twisting blades and then improve twisting blades. I mean, no need to get this one, alright? Please get this one. Because this is a stagger buildup as well. And then sturdy, just because we need to get siphoning strikes. This is really important. Why? Because we are using Dark Dance. Plus, siphoning strikes help us stand more in front of Uber Lilith while wearing our inner calm gloves and while wearing Fist of Fate. So we need to deal more damage and we need to get as many attacks as we can so that we can always proc that toxic pool constantly. So yeah, if we can survive Lilith's attacks more frequently, her normal attacks, of course not her one hit mechanics, but if we can survive her like basic attacks we can deal more damage via our toxic pool because we can proc those toxic pools um, more when we are standing in front of her. So yeah, this helps us on our dark dance, vicious heart, and getting attacked. All right. Next is shadow step. This helps us on the stagger buildup basically because of the passive effects or modifiers. But yeah, shadow step, enhance shadow step, increase critical strike chance 8%, and then methodical shadow step. All right. Stun is also a crowd control effect, so this helps us on stagger buildup. All right. Next, smoke grenade for stagger buildup, daze effect, poison trap, DOT damage. All right. And then enhanced poison trap. You can get this countering poison trap or subverting poison trap. It's really your choice, but I'd rather get subverting poison trap so that I can have a consistent poisoning damage on Uber Lilith. All right. Instead of gambling my luck on the imbuement skill cooldowns that I have, which is this poison imbuement. But yeah, I can time my poison imbuement almost perfect, but not perfect. So that is why I use subverting poison trap. But yeah, if you want to use this one, countering poison trap, it's totally fine. But yeah. Next, exploit. So max on exploit. Okay. Increase damage to healthy and injured enemies. So during the start of the fight with Uber Lilith, we have already have an increased damage, and then when she drops her HP on 30%, we have an increased damage as well. Since she is considered injured when she drops her HP at 30%. Alright. And then Malice. Malice we deal 9% increased damage to vulnerable enemies. So max this one out. Alright. Vulnerable damage is really important. Next. Poison Imbuement. Max rank on this, 5 points, plus the 4 ranks which we have on our helm, and 3 ranks which we have on our amulet. So that's a total of 12. So yeah, 252% of our base damage as additional poisoning damage. So what's our base damage? Let's check our stat. Alright. So damage, 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 damage. There you go. Alright. Next is Deadly Venom. I'm sorry. Poisoning Imbuement and then Enhanced Poison Imbuement. Alright. And then Blended Poison Imbuement. 1 second is sometimes important. But the thing is, this one's really important. Blended Poison Imbuement. 75% increased poisoning damage on Poison Imbued skill. So our Poison Imbued skill will be when the toxic pool is up, our main poison imbue damage will be Twisting Blade. So it says there, imbuable. Alright, it's perfect. Okay. Next is Deadly Venom, 9% increased poisoning damage, and then Alchemical Advantage, 1% increased attack speed for each enemy that we have poisoned, up to 15%. But yeah, it builds up to 15%. Okay. Next is Frigid Finesse. So earlier, I've mentioned that we are firstly using our Penitent Greaves and it shields Lilith during our initial fight, and then we switch to Noxious Boots. And Noxious Boots prolongs the chill effect. So for both gears, this complements well. Alright? So for both gears, this complements well. Next is Alchemist Fortune, non-physical damage that we deal, 15% increased lucky hit chance. Innervation, 30% chance to gain 8 energy. Trap Mastery, Poison Trap, gain 12% increased critical strike chance against vulnerable and crowd control enemies. So our DOT damage um has a higher chance of critting. But yeah, it deals more damage, but this is really good. And then Adrenaline Rush. This is somehow important, but I only had one here in order for me to maximize this one out. So this is really important. Haze is really important. Please maximize this one out because when we are above 50% maximum energy, we have increased movement speed. I mean, we're not going to be moving from point A to point B, but we're more of like staying on our position and dealing more damage because we have to be on our toxic pool. But the thing is, when we have below 50% maximum energy, we gain increased attack speed. That's the important one here. That's the important part of getting haste passive. Why? Because when we have increased attack speed, we can throw puncture as many as we can when we have increased attack speed. So that means we can gain more energy and we can proc those toxic pools a lot quicker. All right. So this one is really important. Okay. And then key passive, some people get momentum and they can deal 24 million damage, but on this build, we can deal 24 million damage as well. Um, 24 million DOT damage, poisoning damage. So yeah, close quarter combat, but it really depends. You can get momentum or close quarters combat, but I would rather get close quarters combat. Oh yeah. And then for the Paragon board, I'm not gonna be digging deeper into this one, but this one's really important. I mean, can s- I can totally feel the difference of using other people's Paragon board comparing to this one. This is Lucky Luciano's Paragon board. So this is the highest damage that you can get from having this Paragon board versus other Paragon boards. I mean, I couldn't find a better Paragon board. All right. I'm telling you, couldn't find a better Paragon board than this one. I can't even have like the extra 4 points. So this node here, this node here, this node, and this node. I couldn't get the last two normal nodes here because basically it gives me, let's say, 30% increased damage to crowd control targets. So that's a total of 101.3, let's say 101.3% damage to crowd control enemies. So that's already 100%. And then for this, so you can see 49.5 critical strike damage. That's insane, right? Okay. See, 77.2% damage to close enemies. This is really insane. Lucky Luciano took time on creating this Paragon board, and it's really awesome. I can totally feel the difference, and this is really awesome. But yeah, please pay attention because this is really important. So this one's your starting board. Make your way getting this board here, which is Tricks of the Trade. The glyph is Bane. Okay. And then third board would be this. Okay. Third board would be Chip Shot. And then the glyph for this one is Tracker. All right. Next, don't go up here. Don't get this board yet. Make your way in getting this board first. Okay. This will be your fourth board. Okay. This one's your fourth board. So get this board first. This is Cunning Stratagem and then Turf. Again, starting board one, second board here, Tricks of the Trade. Third board, Cheap Shot. Don't go up yet. Get this board here. Get your fourth board, Cunning Stratagem. Then after getting Cunning Stratagem, go up, get exploit weakness, and then after getting exploit weakness, that's the point where you are going to make yourself go up and get this board here. No witnesses. Okay? No witnesses and then exploit. I'm gonna be putting the link on the description for this one. I'll be putting Lucky Luciano's D4 build planner and I forgot the other one. He has two sites or two links for his build planner and they're already both updated. So yeah. Okay. And then after getting this board, no witnesses, then exploit. After getting that board, that's gonna be your fifth board. Oh no, sorry. Sixth board. Am I right? Sixth board. One, two, three, four, yeah, five, six. It's gonna be your sixth board. Or am I wrong? Let's double check. Paragon board. One, two, three, four. Yep, that's gonna be your sixth board. I just checked Lucky Luciano's board. Alright. So this one's gonna be our sixth board. Okay. After getting no witnesses board, sixth board, seventh board would be Deadly Ambush with Control. I couldn't get extra Paragon points from my renown because I'm too lazy, but you're supposed to be getting Cunning, this node here, and then get the extra 2 intelligence points because that's gonna be a total of plus 10 intelligence and then plus, let's say 15%. Yep. So yeah, that's extra 100 plus percent damage to crowd control enemies. All right, that's your Paragon board. So yeah, we're done with Gears Paragon board. Check the link on the description for the Gears Paragon board and skill tree. And now let's hop into the gameplay itself. So let's review our gameplay. So yeah, here's our gameplay right here. So I have my Fist of Fate on and my Penitent Greaves on, and then I already have my Inner Calm gloves, Noxious boots, and the pants prepared for switching. For phase one, let's start off with positioning. So position yourself shortest path. I mean, you can take this route here. You can see my mouse. Yeah. You can also take this route here. Make a dash here or evade. Not dash, I'm sorry. Make an evade because you're not going to be equipping dash. Make an evade here and then after evading, place your poison trap right away. Or you can just run here on this area and then place your poison trap. Okay. You can't place your poison trap too far from the center circle here. You can place your trap at the centermost part, middlemost part of the circle, but I would rather place it on this area here. Alright. So when Lilith spawns, she'll get damage right away from our poison trap. And then when she spawns, use Shadow Step right away, and then it should also be in sync, alright? After Shadow Stepping, use your Smoke Grenade right away on Uber Lilith, and then spam the hell out of your Puncture and Twisting Blades, and then time your Toxic Pulse. So this is how it works. You see? So I evaded, place my Poison Trap, use Shadow Step, and then that's gonna be in sync with Smoke Grenade, and then spam the hell out of Puncture and Twisting Blades, and I was already able to get my Toxic Pool. Again, spamming. And then we are already almost at 50% stagger points, stagger buildup on Uber Lilith. So always remember our stagger bar should be matching Uber Lilith's HP. All right, but yeah, you can if you are damaging her too much, because you wouldn't want her HP to drop into this area or this area, like the what do you call this, the bright red one, because this one's the current HP, and then this one's the regenerating HP. So this one's the DOT damage that we were able to get. But this one's the HP, technically the HP left that she can still regenerate. But yeah, nevertheless, if you're damaging her too much, you can just take a little bit slower on your attacks. Make your attacks a little bit slower. Use puncture, and then time your toxical, and then get crazy when she gets staggered. But yeah, in this case, I'm trying my best to match my damage on her and my stagger buildup on her. But yeah, again, then you're gonna be seeing me switching my gear. Alright. I've opened my character slot, my inventory, because I'm looking at my stagger points on Lilith, and it's already at, let's say, 80% or 75%. And I opened my inventory for me to be able to switch on the inner calm gloves and noxious boots. Again, inner calm gloves, the more the longer that we are standing still, the more damage that we can deal with Uber Lilith. Okay? And then Noxus Boots, it complements well on our Penitent Greaves because chilled effects on Uber Lilith will be longer. So that means more stagger points and we can quickly stagger her. Because I already have my Toxic Pull up. So I wanted to stagger her at this point. I wanted to stagger her as quickly as I can on this point. And I'm pretty sure that during this time, I'm pretty sure that if ever this toxic pool will be gone away, I can control my attacks on her, take it a little bit slower, and at the same time, I'm gonna be waiting for the next toxic pool proc. You wanted her HP as well. You wanna make her HP drop up to 30% before you switch your gear, as long as you have your stagger bar at this point. Okay? I lost my toxic pool. So, yep, there you go. I used puncture multiple times. Yep, used puncture multiple times and twisting blade. Then it went up and then I staggered her and then get crazy. So as you can see, I switched inner calm, then switched my boots as well. Sorry, you weren't able to see it though. But yeah. Yep, switched both. Her HP dropped to almost 65%. And then she gets staggered, toxic pulls, and she's dead. And then from here, I switched on my other pants that I use, which has damage stats with aspect of might, and then I still used Fist of Fate, but I didn't change it to Penitent Greaves. Because on phase 2, you can quickly stagger her easily, but you should be aware that there is a slight, even with the slightest delay, she'll be spawning those blood boils. But yeah, as long as you can stagger her and kill her on phase 2, initial part of phase 2, that's gonna be a good thing. So I used Fist of Fate, and then when she gets staggered, I'll be switching it back to my inner calm gloves. But there's a trick on this one. Okay, switch to Fist of Fate, placed my first poison trap. You can place 2 or 3 poison traps maximum, but yeah, depending on your cooldown reduction. But for mine, before she gets spawned, maximum number of poison traps that I can do is 2. And then after spawning, I can still place 1 poison trap after spawn. And then I open my inventory again. I equipped my Fist of Fate for stagger buildup. And then I opened my inventory for me to be able to use my secret sauce. So secret sauce would be Chorus of War. So a Chorus of War is an incense. It increases our stats by 40 and crit and overpower damage by 5%. I mean, overpower damage is not really important in my own opinion, but crit and all stats really helps us, get those boosts in crit chance, resource regen, not healing power, but also skill damage because of dexterity. But yeah, this is really good. Okay. But the thing is, this is risky and really costly. It'll cost us too much if we aren't able to kill Uber Lilith right away. Um, because an incense, yeah, we can use it, but once we die, an incense will be gone when that happens. So you have to use it right away. You have to use it once more if you die using this one. Okay? So it expires right away. Not unlike elixirs, like when you die after spawning, it's still there as long as the countdown haven't expired yet. But yeah, be careful. All right. So that's the reason why I only use this one on phase 2. And that is the reason why I only use this one on phase 2. Okay. All right. Cars of War. And then here on this part, I'm just waiting for her to spawn, and then I'm gonna be placing my poison trap. And then after spawning, once her wings are all done building up, you can start attacking her. But same thing as well during the first phase. You wanna use Shadow Step in in sync with Smoke Grenade, and then spam the hell out of your Poison Imbuement while the Toxic Pull is up. Puncture and Twisting Blade. Okay? And then pay attention. I won't be using my Smoke Grenade more than once. Only use it once. Okay? Because we are gonna be needing to switch our Smoke Grenade after phase 2 Uber Lilith flies away. Okay? We don't want to have a cooldown on our Smoke Grenade, so we have to use it only once. So spawned, so you can see Smoke Grenade's already on cooldown, was already able to Shadow Step and cast my Poison Imbuement. It should be really quick, so you can proc that Toxic Pool right away. It's a risk, But yeah. And stagger build up. So you can see stagger bar is at 80%, or let's say 90%, not really sure, but from this point, I'm gonna be switching it. I'm gonna switching my Fist of Fate to this Inner Calm Gloves because she's about to get staggered. But I was too late because she was already able to spawn her pools. 4 pools. I think that's 4. Yeah, 4 pools here. Yeah. But yeah, at this point, I want to stagger her as quickly as I can before she spawn those blood boils. But yeah, Inner Calm Gloves. And I was already able to get my Toxic Pool, and then she gets staggered from this point. We wanted to deal more damage as we can, so her HP will drop up to this area here, this small part here, when she goes down after flying away. Yep, yep, yep. Say, at this point, as you can see, her HP is up to here, and we are already dealing, I think, 20 plus million. 15, 19 million. See here, 19 million. This part. The DOT damage on Uber Lilith will still be continuing after she flies away. She'll be starting to be invulnerable if her HP drops up to this point. So if her HP drops up to this point, you need to stagger her so that she gets vulnerable, and from that point, you can like drain her HP. But there's a trick to that one. You'll see. So she's gonna be flying away. Her HP is at this point, and we still have our DOT damage on her, even she's already flying away. Yep. Then she flies away. Watch this. I opened my skill tree here, and I already have my smoke grenade prep and my concealment prep. So I'm gonna be switching my smoke grenade to concealment. I'm gonna be unlearning my smoke grenade and then selecting concealment. And then after learning that one, I hit Q, or in your case, I think it's 1 or whatever it is. Just cast it right away, use it right away after learning concealment. And Uber Lilith will spawn. After Uber Lilith spawns, she'll notice that, hey, there's no enemy. Where's that enemy? And she'll get, after Lilith spawns, Uber Lilith, after Lilith spawns, Uber Lilith will notice that, hey, there's no enemies. I'm safe. And then she's gonna be vulnerable and she'll take damage and she'll die. Because basically, earlier I told you that our DOT damage still continues even if Lilith flies away, right? Even if she's already flying away, our DOT damage still there. So yeah, you'll see. Okay. So at this point, Uber Lilith came back. I was already able to cast my concealment. Okay. See? And she became vulnerable. Okay. She went back. She's dealing more damage. 7 million, 7 million. I think that's 4 ticks of 7 million. Yep, 7 million, 7 million. Hey, there's no enemies. She became vulnerable, another 7 million, and then she died. And yeah. Again. For phase 2, let's start. Yep. So phase 1 died. Phase 2 again. Here. Hours of War. Placing my second trap.
I need more time.
Yep. Uber Lilith is prepping. And Shadow Step, Poison and Blue, Smoke Grenades. Get crazy. Do not use Smoke Grenade twice. Switch to my Intercom Gloves and spam the hell out of her. And there we go. Switch Stealth. Used it. Uber Lilith died. And there we go. So yep. Dungeons complete. Yep. So that's the way to do it. If you wanna kill Uber Lilith within 1 or under a minute or 1 to 2 minutes, but yeah, if you do it perfectly, you can kill her within 1 minute or 1 minute and a couple of seconds, just like this one. Oh yeah. Um. So for the switching, Just be careful. Okay. So for the switching, you wanted to let's see. So for the switching, you wanted to reserve your last skill point. Okay, when you're doing your skill tree, you wanted to reserve your last skill point on smoke grenade. Why? Because if you, for example, used your last skill point on close quarters combat, you won't be able to switch to concealment efficiently or as quickly as you can because you have to drag or open your skill tree and then drag it up to the smoke grenade skill and then unlearn it and then learn concealment. It'll take too much time. So you wanted to put a skill point on smoke grenade last. Okay? I'll show you. No worries, I'm gonna be showing it to you. But yeah. Dun, 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 dun. You wanna put your skill point. So for example, I used my last skill point on close quarters combat, right? For example. And then I fought Uber Lilith. I'm on phase 2. I was able to deal a decent damage on her. And then I'm already about to switch smoke grenade to concealment. I opened my skill tree by pressing A. Oh no, I'm in this part of the skill tree board. So I need to drag my way all up here and then learn this, unlearn this one, and then learn this one. By that time, Uber Lilith already has spawned. Okay? You don't want that one to happen. In order for you to avoid that, for example, I was already, for example, I'm creating my skill tree. I'm already able to learn everything that I need except for smoke grenade. This is the last skill that you want to learn. Okay, so learn this one, put a point there, and you're set. So when the time comes, when you do your Uber Lilith kill, and then phase 2, you did a decent damage on Uber Lilith, you wanted to switch your smoke grenade to concealment, you press A, you're already on part of, on this area on your skill tree. So you can just go like this and then like this, and there you go. There's your concealment. Okay. All right. So yeah, please pay attention on this one. Always remember this because a lot of people are messing up their concealment trick on Uber Lilith because they did not know this one or they totally forgot this one. Please do not forget. Okay. Please, please, please do not forget. All right. But yeah, that's about it. That's all that I could show you, but it's gonna be hard at first, but it's a learning process as well. Timing is the most important. You should be timing your toxic pools, not literally timing it, but it's more of a RNG. But if you get a better feel of your build of your rogue class, if you get a better feel on when you think your toxic pools will proc, you'll get used to it and you'll get better for each fight on Uber Lilith. And yeah, good luck. Be patient. Do not give up. It happens to the best of us already. Like, we've been failing multiple times, but in the end, we were able to kill Uber Lilith. So we've been there. If you are here watching my video, if you're trying to get some tips, I hope I was able to give you an ample amount of tips. You can skip on some parts as well. There's like timestamps on the video, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, learned a lot, And please, 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 please do not give up and check out Lucky Luciano and Jericho TV. They're really awesome individuals. And thank you so much, everyone. And I hope you all have a great day or a great night ahead. Bye bye.